Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming $5,000 Modern Open here at Apex Con in Caldwell, Ohio. I'm Todd Tandy Anderson, joined by Ross Merriam. So hi, Ross.
Hi, Ross.
We got one round down. We got plenty more to bring you today. Ross, why don't you give us a look at what we're going to be playing against in round number 2?
So we're going to be starting with Jeff Snodgrass on Mardu Scam, playing against Allison Coleman on Dredge. Dredge, a deck that we haven't seen a lot in Modern recently, but got some new toys in MH3. Cephalid Coliseum, most notable of them. And Allison's list definitely built with Cephalid Coliseum in mind. So her enablers are shifting more towards blue cards because you have more blue mana. So 4 copies of Tome Scour, 3 copies of Otherworldly Gaze. Cards that let you start the Dredge engine, are castable off of Coliseum, and also very quickly get you to Threshold for activating Coliseum on later turns. Other than that, also 3 copies of Flare of Denial.
Yeah, I think Flare of Denial is the big pickup. We saw people talking a lot about it in like Legacy and Vintage Dredge alongside Narcomoeba. But in this list, we also get access to Prized Amalgam. And whenever you put those into play, being able to use Flare of Denial to prevent your opponent's next play, I think is a huge deal.
Yeah, and so those cards definitely juice this deck a little bit. Still the same package of dredgers and creatures to bring back. Allison opting for Silver Smoke Ghoul over Bloodghast,
Sure.
so a more explosive version of the deck, and that is generally the case these days.
All right. Well, the players are ready in the feature match area, so let's head on down and watch it. Dredge versus Mardu Scam. On your right, it's going to be Allison Coleman playing Dredge. Left's going to be Snodgrass playing Mardu Scam. If I'm not mistaken, I played against Allison in the top 8 of the Star City Invitational a while back. I was playing Jeskai. What's the combo deck with the enchantment? Jeskai Ascension.
Ascendancy.
Yeah, Jeskai Ascendancy. Allison beat the brakes off me with Abzan Aggro, one of your favorites.
Yeah. This was that a mulligan to 2?
3.
3?
Yeah, 3 cards. Easy game. 2-0 incoming. Turn 1, fetch Bloodstained Mire. Most of the gameplay in this matchup is going to be Dredge Mulligans. As what happens when you play Wither against Dredge.
Well, we'll see if Snodgrass has Scam, though that could backfire if he's forced to have Allison discard one of the dredgers.
Alright. It's just...
Okay, 2 copies of Cathartic Reunion, so Allison gets to keep one of them along with a land.
Any Surveil lands in chat?
Oh, there's some Surveil lands in Allison's list.
Nice.
Got a Thundering Falls and a Hedge Maze.
Do we have enough cards to discard to the Cathartic Reunion on the mulligan of 3? Maybe not.
No is the the right answer. Allison gonna have to wait until at least turn 3.
Alright. Second land here for Snodgrass. Gonna play a Dashed Ragavan. Smash for 2. Top card. Probably not gonna be able to cast it. Probably not gonna want to cast it no matter what it is. Just a land. Coleman needed that one. Let's see if she wants to go digging for a Surveil land.
Would have been really awkward if Snodgrass hit the Thundering Falls.
Alright. Looking for a land.
Yeah, Allison needed to take that chance because she needs this Surveil, and if you Surveil in response to the Ragavan trigger, it's like you really didn't do it.
Man, Surveil lands in Dredge seems pretty sweet. Turn 1, you have nothing to do. Just quick fetch Surveil main phase.
Yeah. Granted, Dredge does want to do things on the early turns, but... Okay, so Allison does find the second land, but... Ooh.
Cast Narcomoeba. This is a... Hey, I'm going to block your Ragavan.
I guess, but that puts her another turn away from casting the Cathartic Reunion. Which, if she doesn't have a Dredger, is, I guess, not a big deal. So if you're...
Flayed your Narcomoeba. Sack the treasure. Going to play that Ragavan more than likely. Here we go.
So the punish here is if this card is a Dredger.
Alright, Allison draws for turn. Can maybe Cathartic next turn unless Snodgrass has another discard effect.
Yeah, Hardcast Grief here would be pretty devastating.
Looks like that's what's going to happen. Another treasure. Flip off the top card. It's an Otherworldly Gaze. I doubt we're casting that one.
Yeah, that one's exiled and will stay exiled. Don't want to put that one into Allison's graveyard.
Fetch from Marsh Flats. I think that should send Snodgrass down to 14 if we're getting planes. Can use the treasure as the second black source. Doesn't have one rolled up in the lands. Sax plays Thoughtseize. I think we just fetched the wrong land on him.
Oh,
So.
wow. And it was a Dredger off the top for Allison, a Golgari Thug. So had she not cast the Narcomoeba, granted, then the Brogovan probably gets dashed and you're drawing a different card. So
All right.
can't really
We're
project.
going to bring back Flage instead of playing the Grief. So Flage comes in, zaps Allison for 3. Next turn is going to threaten a extremely large attack. Closes the game so quickly. This mulligan to 3 just did not work out for Coleman.
They generally don't for anyone.
Yeah, but if a deck could do it, it'd be Dredge. Snodgrass takes game number 1. That one's the tough one against Dredge. Usually game number 1 is the freebie.
Yeah, but Snodgrass, his sideboard has a lot of cards that look like Graveyard Hate, but I don't think they're going to be particularly good against Dredge.
All right, hit me.
So it's the irrelevant cards are 3 Damping Sphere, 3 Harsh Mentor, and 3 Sun Cleanser.
Okay.
We can ignore all those. There's also 3 copies of Hidetsugu Consumes All, which does say exile all graveyards on it.
I don't like it, though.
But yes, it is, I think, just a little bit too slow. And then 3 copies of Unlicensed Hearse. That one is certainly coming in.
Yep. So we got those 3 coming in. What in the main deck looks bad? You know, like Obnixilis Adversary looks kind of medium.
Orcish Bowmasters.
Yeah.
You know,
They do draw a lot of cards, though. They have a lot of things to say draw a card on them. They do.
yeah, but you dredge instead. You replace those draws.
Does that not count for the Bowmaster?
Correct. You've replaced the draw with something
Oh,
else.
no.
So you don't trigger Bowmaster when you
Gross.
dredge.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm off it.
So you take out some of the weaker pieces of interaction and you get some Graveyard Hate. Honestly, the Hidetsugu Consumables might come in anyway because it does transforms into a creature that can attack and do things. I think probably just better than a Johnny.
Which Johnny? The 2-mana Johnny that's like the best card in your deck?
This isn't the energy deck. They're
It's
just,
still just
playing value with
still
Johnny.
It's a great card. It's just a lot of pressure for 2 mana.
Yeah. So a lot of Graveyard Hate coming in. Coleman's sideboard has 2 Gemstone Caverns, not going to be coming in on the play here for game 2, but for game 3. 1 Force Negation, 3 Grief, 3 Leyline of Sanctity, 3 Lightning Axe, and 3 Nature's Claim. I imagine the Leyline of Sanctities will be coming in against the heavy discard deck. And, I don't know if Allison knows to expect Unlicensed Hearse, but this is also a deck that could play Rest in Peace or Leyline of the Void. So I wouldn't be surprised if some Nature's Claims come in as well. And with all the creatures on the other side, maybe the Axes.
All right, well, as these players are shuffling up here for game number 2, I'd like to take this time to say thank you to our sponsors for this weekend's event. Ultimate Guard is the industry leader in TCG supplies, from the Boulder deck box to the Katana sleeves. Make sure to check your local game store for Ultimate Guard products today. Thanks to Wings Etc. Grill and Pub, a fun place to take your friends and family for a good night. Get some food, get some drink, Wings Etc. Ross and I'll be there later if you want to swing on by over here in Caldwell and say hi. Thank you to Ghost Energy. Ghost Energy keeps us energized and hydrated on these long tournament weekends. And lastly, thank you so much to SpiceRack.gg, brand new tournament software we've been using, and really appreciate the hard work that they've been putting in to make the tournament software the best it can be. If you are a tournament organizer or you just want your local store to run some events on SpiceRack, well, tell them to sign up today, SpiceRack.gg. Allison taking a mulligan to 6 here.
Just normal Dredge things.
Hot Spring Games, thanks for a sub.
The first couple mulligans with Dredge are not going to hurt, but Allison's certainly going to hope not to go to 3 again. Looks like she's staying on 6.
All right. Got a quick fetch here with Scalding Tarn. What do we got for 1 mana that's just getting fired off immediately?
Tome Scour or Otherworldly Gaze.
All right. Well, Gaze is instant, but Tome Scour sounds like what's happening. Any Arboreal Grazers? 1 green.
Not in this match.
All right. Top 5. Going to the grave. I see a Dredger, a Creeping Chill, A prized amalgam, so we're
And
just going to zap for 3.
And a gaze, so Coleman set up very well for next turn.
Back up to 20. Snodgrass before even getting to draw down to 17. So we know Coleman's probably got a good turn lineup next turn. Even if it's just Otherworldly Gaze on the instep or second main, can hit some real nice ones off the top.
Yeah, that plus a Dredge of Stinkweed Imp on the draw step will let her see 8 more cards towards...
We don't know for sure if Coleman has a second land to play. Here is a Grief pitching Malkia Rebirth, so we're going to have some sort of scam thing going on here probably. I see Nature's Claim, Steam Vents, Tome Scour, and a Flare of Denial. So a relatively weak hand, but a second land. So I think that that's the most important part.
So the Nature's Claims came in, and Flare stayed in. That surprises me, unless the Leyline stayed in the sideboard. Allison may be thinking, on the play, I'm not that worried about the discard spells.
All right. Ephemerate here on the Grief. Strips the Flare of Denial and the Tome Scour. We're going to go Dredging. Stinky to hand.
So not taking the Nature's Claim suggests Snodgrass does not have a piece of Graveyard Hate in hand.
All right, so Prize Amalgam's going to see the Narcomoeba and trigger. Going to play the Steam as tapped instead of going for the Otherworldly Gaze. Interesting.
Yeah. I think burying her graveyard there, she buried the gaze and forgot it was there. You certainly would want to see, more amalgams. Even if more amalgams won't see the Narcomoeba, they'll see the first amalgam and then come in on Snodgrass's end step.
All right, turn number 2 for Snodgrass. Disrupting the hand greatly. Plays a Johnny. Let's get a Johnny on screen. This is a brand new card from Modern Horizons 3. It's tearing it up in many of the energy decks, but here we're using it just as a 2-drop value creature. One of those 2 drops is why Spell Snare is so strong right now.
Coleman dredges a Thug on the draw step and finds a Silver Smoke Ghoul. I think she still is ignoring that gaze in the graveyard.
Backside of Johnny, quite powerful. Needs a red permanent to really juice it up, but still just a very strong card. Looks like we're going to double block the Grief here. Let's see if Snodgrass has anything.
Okay. Even if there's a removal spell here, Coleman's not too worried about it. You're either trading Narcomoeba for a removal spell or for the Grief.
All right, Prize Amalgam down.
Cat token comes across for 2.
And Fatal Push my own token to flip the Ajani. Interesting.
No red permanent, so the Ajani Planeswalker is just going to replace the cat token.
Yeah, next turn, though, Fable the Mirrorbreaker going to come down, and then we're going to start killing creatures or going face. Otherworldly Gaze here on the instep. Going to keep something on top.
I think left a Cephalid Coliseum there.
We're going to go and crack it. This is also a new reprint into Modern. Cephalid Coliseum has long been a part of Dredge and Extended Legacy and Vintage, but now we're seeing exactly what it can do in Modern. Here, it's seeing 13 cards here. Less than that, 12 cards here.
It's chain some dredgers. So 12 cards. We finish resolving the Cephalid Coliseum. Now these triggers go on the stack. 2 Narcomoebas and a Creeping Chill. Snodgrass going to fall to 14. Coleman up to 18. And all the prize amalgams in the graveyard will see these Narcomoebas and enter the battlefield on Coleman's end step.
Yeah, and the Silver Smokes will enter from the Creeping Chill as well. So a horde of zombies going to be coming back here. One of these Narcomoebas can also attack and maybe pressure the Ajani a little bit. Maybe that's what Coleman's considering.
It's giving our graveyard a check first. Now we'll read the Ajani. Snodgrass only on 2 cards in hand, so things looking pretty good for our Dredge pilot in game 2.
Looks like we're going to go face. Just ignore the Ajani for now. In a turn. Here it comes. Malcolm. Ghoul.
Cool. Okay, yeah, this is 15 power.
All right, Snodgrass, what you got? I see Fable the Mirror Breaker.
It's like Land, Fable, Solitude are the 3 cards for Snodgrass after the draw step. Marsh Flats being the land.
I think we can survive a turn. We go Fable the Mirror Breaker. The plus on the 0 on a Johnny makes a 2/1, and that also deals 3 damage to any target, and we can kill one of the Malcolms. All right, where are we going? We have 3 blockers, so I guess we can target face instead. All I know is that whenever I play against Dredge, if they're at this life total, at this stage in the game, and I don't have a hate card in play, I'm dead. Conventional interaction does not work against these extremely squishy zombies. They will just keep coming back over and over again, as zombies are wont to do.
Yeah, it takes a lot to grind the Dredge deck out of resources. You basically have to deck them.
All right, gonna Dredge 5 with Stinkweed Imp. Finds another Narcomoeba, so Malcolm will come back on the end step.
And the Narcomoeba should go after the Ajani, but maybe Coleman just goes all face.
All face seems fine. This doesn't really matter. Just... All right.
So Snodgrass has a couple 2/1s and a 2/2 Goblin that can block. Looks like the Goblin is just going to jump in front of Prized Amalgam.
I think we're just going to try to find some sort of kill with, maybe for a draw, we have to draw exactly Flage, and then we have to give it haste, attack, and activate the Ajani. I think that maybe can do lethal, but I don't even know that that's true.
Ooh. And Surveil, after loaming back Thundering Falls, puts
Conflagrate
in the graveyard. So Coleman can set that up next turn, dredge the Life in the Loam, cast it again to fill up her hand even more, play a 4th land, and flash back the Conflagrate.
Well, I think the Swamp actually makes the Flage play untenable.
Yeah, Swamp and Flage is not a combo.
We know there's just Solitude in hand, so ill-advised block maybe from Snodgrass, but I just don't think it's going to matter.
Even a Flage with haste attacks for 12, and then the tokens give you 4 more, and then the Ajani itself would deal 4 potentially.
Yeah.
But Coleman has a blocker.
Well, one of the Flages can kill the blocker.
But then you're only getting 15.
11, 12, 13. No, that's 19. Because the Ajani can deal face damage. So
yeah, but it's only dealing 4, right?
So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, so 1 short. All right, pack it in. Game 3. Bring it on. Come. There we go. Yeah. All right. Game number 2 goes to Allison Coleman on Dredge. We got a deciding game. Snodgrass is going to be on the play. Guess what that means? Gemstone Cavern.
Yeah, so those will certainly be coming in for Allison here on the draw. And with Otherworldly Gaze, sometimes you can just cast a spell on their turn.
Yeah, I think Gemstone Caverns is maybe one of my favorite cards in Modern. I absolutely adore putting it in the sideboard of basically any deck that I play. Because who doesn't want to be on the play, you know?
One thing that I find a little strange about Allison's list is there's no black sources of mana to be able to hardcast Stinkweed Imps or sacrifice Silver Smoke Ghouls.
Yeah, maybe play 1 land to fetch to be able to cast your cards.
And you can loam it back because usually you're later in the game when you start doing things like that. But
yeah, hardcast Creeping Chill is a big deal. I've won plenty of games doing that.
This is a deck that often needs to get scrappy, so you need to give yourself the ability to get scrappy.
If you had to play 1 land that could cast these cards, which would it be? Blood Crypt or Surveil Land or what?
It would be an untapped land for sure. Either Blood Crypt or Watery Grave.
All right. Well, as these players are shuffling up here for game number 3, we had one super quick game where Allison mulliganed to 3 and didn't cast a spell and died. Oh, sorry. She cast a Narcomoeba. Pardon me.
Which also died.
Yes, yes. We had Snodgrass, which had no disruption in game number 2, defeated by just a horde of zombies. And now for game number 3, players are going to be taking mulligans here. We'll see in just a moment.
And on the play is where Unlicensed Hearse is almost always fast enough. Because usually turn 1 is a setup turn, and Hearse is not very good at stopping the Dredge deck once they've already gotten their graveyard pretty full.
Yeah.
But if you get it down before they start dredging, it really stops the ball from rolling down the hill at the very beginning, and it's very good at that, and it does it repeatedly. So a turn 2 Hearse could be very problematic here for Coleman if she doesn't have one of those Nature's Claims in the sideboard. Also, the discard spells that were ineffective in Game 2 because Snodgrass was on the draw will be more effective here in Game 3, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Leyline of Sanctities in for Coleman as well, and that they would likely be replacing the Flare of Denials.
Alrighty. Looks like we're about to be underway here. Let's see if either player wants to take a mulligan. We know the Dredge deck does mulligan quite aggressively, but keep 7. That's got to be scary. Turn on Ragavan for Snodgrass, also pretty scary.
Yeah, good win against Dredge that usually doesn't interact with it or put blockers onto the battlefield that quickly.
Allison draws Narcomoeba for the turn. Not the best one to draw. Want to mill over those. Shocks of Steam Vents. See if it's Tome Scour, Otherworldly Gaze, or other. And there's Otherworldly Gaze. This is main phase. Interesting. We do find Narcomoeba.
Yeah, just doesn't need the land, so bin all 3.
Yeah.
Narcomoeba plus a Dredger, that's nice.
Yeah, Dredger in the grave is great. And Narcomoeba as a blocker for Ragavan, also great. Snodgrass, going to play Bowmaster, takes out the Narcomoeba. We're going to attack for 2 and get a treasure token and a 1/1 army. Flips over Prize Malcolm. So we still need a treasure. There it is.
So not a castable card for Snodgrass, but a great card to exile from Coleman's deck.
Top 4 cards go to the graveyard. There's Chill and Silver Smoke Ghoul and another Chill. So drain you for 6, down to 11 already. Ghoul's going to be coming back from the graveyard on freebie. If we can get a Prize Amalgam into the graveyard, it will see the Silver Smoke Ghoul and come back on the following end step. It's a weird chain.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way to discard cards for Coleman. Just the one Conflagrate in the deck, really.
Gonna go ahead and hard cast a Narcomoeba, brings back Silver Smoke Ghoul. Gonna go back to Snodgrass.
So Coleman really needs to find like a Cathartic Reunion, but does have a Gaze, so might want to Gaze on the upkeep and could also find a Dredger to dredge on draw step.
Yeah. Coleman actually had the ability to play Life from the Loam that turn to get back some lands and put a Dredger into the graveyard. The Narcomoeba here is a purely defensive play in order to keep Ragavan at bay and maybe to make sure Bowmaster doesn't attack.
Coleman's not under, that much pressure to keep this Dredge engine going with the Gaze in the graveyard, so I don't mind the Narcomoeba.
Well, to answer your question earlier, Snodgrass did bring in Hidetsugu Consumes All, but with 2 tokens and a Ragavan in play, there is 0% chance that's getting cast this turn.
Yeah. Turns out all means yourself. Hidetsugu consumes you.
Yes. It really should be Hidetsugu Consumes Little Guys. Because it's just the 1s and 0s.
Hidetsugu consumes some.
Yeah. You get it. But Johnny makes a token.
Hidetsugu consumes a disciplined diet.
Alright, here's a Bowmaster. I'm going to target my own token, and that's going to allow me to make a 2/1 and either shoot down Narcomoeba or go face. Thanks to the Ragavan being the red creature.
Yeah, let's shoot down the Narcomoeba and get in for 5.
Well, we can also shoot face for 5 and then get in for 5, and then a chump or a trade happens with an Narcomoeba. And I think that that's better. 5 faces a lot. Alright, we're going to go after the Narcomoeba to keep all our creatures around, and now we get to swing in 4 or 5 damage, as you said. Allison down to 15. We're going to get the top card and a treasure. It's a Silver Smoke Ghoul.
The hits keep hitting for Snodgrass, exiling relevant cards with this Rogovan every time.
What do you think about this Johnny card now, Ross?
This is an upkeep gaze for Coleman.
Mine's Ghoul and a Chill. It will come back tapped, though, so it can't block. Coleman down to 15, up to 18 now. Snodgrass down to 7.
Yeah, it doesn't find another Dredger, though. Snodgrass at 7, yeah. So Snodgrass trading for this Ghoul that's going to come back anyway, just to protect his life total.
Or the Ajani. Not sure which one was pressured.
Either one, I think, is worth protecting. So
Coleman going to fetch main phase.
Yes.
Thundering Falls, looking for another Prize Amalgam or Silver Smoke Ghoul to come back. I think Silver Smoke Ghoul doesn't need to see the Creeping Chill. It just says, did you gain life?
Yep.
Whereas Prize Amalgam needs to be in the graveyard to see another creature come back.
So this is an attack for 7 plus a Dome for 5, potentially. Not quite lethal. And I think it's Malakir Rebirth, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and Blood Crypt in hand?
I think it's Grief, Malakir Rebirth, and Hidetsugu. So you were 1 for 3. So we can go attack, make a cat, blast you, and then we can Grief hardcast. I think all that's fine. I don't think putting pressure on the Silver Smoke Ghouls doesn't seem great. But maybe you're just afraid of Conflagrate for a bunch, so you just hold back 1 or 2 blockers.
So we can Grief scam here and go to 5.
Well, there's no reason to scam it, so we just cast it. We don't have another black card to pitch other than the Malakir itself anyway.
No, we have that Hitsugu's black. Excuse me. Yeah, if you're getting a treasure, then there's no reason to do it unless you want to take 2 cards. And
yeah, important to note, the scamming with Malakir Rebirth does put the creature back in tapped, I believe. So we are going to hold back a blocker with the Bowmaster.
This is an attack for 6.
Good. Tome Scour Self.
And that, notably, that Tome Scour was left on top from the Surveil, so Allison knew it was there, and Snodgrass knew it was a card that Allison wanted to draw.
So we are going to Thought Scour Self looking for Flage. Top 5. We do find the Flage. Might not come back this turn. We might Grief this turn and then look to Flage next turn. But I think Flage covers your life total being at 7 quite nicely in terms of making sure that you don't die next turn.
I think Flage is just going to end the game.
It's pretty good. All right, zap ya. Imagine Tome Scouring yourself and finding Flage.
Hey.
Welcome to Modern.
This Rogovan has been critical this game. Exiled some key cards that Coleman would have wanted to put into her graveyard, and now found the Flage several turns early. If I'm Snodgrass, you have so much pressure on the battlefield, and the Ajani is probably going to finish Coleman off. Just protect your life total. Answer creatures. So you're also generating blockers like it. Things looking very good here for Snodgrass, and this is one of the secret ways to beat Dredge, is to just do things on the battlefield faster than them. Rather than try to interact with their creatures with removal spells, if you just put bigger creatures on the battlefield and you do it in a timely manner, you're going to beat them.
Infect's go-to against them for sure was, oh, I'm never going to stop your stuff, so let's just try to ignore you and kill you.
Yeah, it used to be Dredge used to be too fast relative to the format for that to be a reliable strategy, but these days it's a lot easier. Part of the reason we don't see Dredge as often as we used to.
Johnny going to go 0, and we're going to deal 6 upstairs.
Was this a Flage upstairs, a Johnny upstairs?
I think so.
Yeah, put you to 2.
Yeah, with 3 blockers against the 2 Silver Smokes, we're up to 9. Okay, Allison. Show me what you got.
And yeah, 2 is actually a very relevant life total. Now Allison can't loam, play a land, I guess with, now because Cephalid Coliseum doesn't make red.
Well, Snodgrass could have played Grief there still just as a
Yeah.
pitch protection. I definitely would have done that. The game is over in one turn cycle.
If she had Coliseum into loam, she could then conflagrate for the max and stay at 1. But yeah, the rest of her mana base is fetches, shocks, and surveil lands. No basic.
All right, well, gonna go back to Snodgrass, and looks like we have this rolled up. But Johnny gonna make it 2-1 in Domian. That's it. Snodgrass takes it 2-1 over Allison Coleman's Dredge. Mardu Scam looking pretty good there.
Yeah, Ragavan looking good, Flage looking good, even Bowmasters and Johnny sort of comboing together. Just very powerful plays to the battlefield, making the 1/1s and 3/3s, or recursive 1/1s and 3/3s from Dredge. You know, the fact that they come back doesn't matter if they don't do anything once they're on